Hello everyone, welcome back to JIKOOK Moments. Have you ever noticed that the quietest moments often carry the loudest meaning? Today, we won't be talking about big scenes. No loud confessions. No intentional drama. We're going to pause for a moment and look back at Chapter 2. A part that seems simple, almost trivial, yet when observed more closely, it reveals layers of closeness that cannot be fabricated. One small game. One piece of chocolate. One gesture that didn't need to happen, yet still did. And from there, everything changed. This video isn't about what they say, but about what they do without realizing it. About trust, comfort, and personal boundaries that no longer feel like boundaries at all. If you're ready to see JIKOOK not just as entertainment, but as a connection that lives in the spaces between silence, then let's begin, slowly. Let's truly pause and revisit Chapter 2. Not as a series of ordinary scenes, but as a collection of small moments that gradually build something far greater than just a game or light conversation. After lunch, the atmosphere shifts into something relaxed. No heavy agenda. No performance pressure. Just two people sitting across from each other willing to play, to laugh, and to fully be present in that moment. One of the games they play looks simple, guessing the brand and flavor of a product given by the production team, while blindfolded, a light game, or at least it appears that way. But this is where a small moment emerges, almost silent, yet deeply unsettling in its own way. When it's Jimin's turn, he's given a chocolate that turns out to contain alcohol. The moment the bitter taste hits his tongue, his reaction is instant. He spits it out. The chocolate falls from his mouth, landing on the plate in front of him. Clearly visible, undeniable. A few seconds pass. Then, without warning, without obligation, without any requirement from the game, Jungkook reaches out his finger. He touches the chocolate that just came out of Jimin's mouth. The chocolate that is clearly mixed with saliva. And he tastes it. There's no look of disgust. No moment of hesitation. No expression of reluctance. Only a natural movement, as if it were the most normal thing in the world. A spontaneous decision, completely unnecessary, yet done without a second thought. The gesture isn't loud. It isn't dramatic. But precisely because of that, its impact is powerful. Sharing saliva isn't a social reflex. It's a personal territory. One that only opens when there is complete trust. Trust that doesn't need to be thought about, because it has already existed for a long time. The scene passes just like that, as if it doesn't need to be underlined. And that is exactly where its meaning lives. As a penalty in the game, their phones are taken away for an hour. No devices. No distractions. Just time moving as it is. During that pause, Jungkook picks up the camera. And once again, without much thought, he points it at Jimin. No concept. No direction. He simply records. Like someone wanting to keep a moment he enjoys. The moment Jimin realizes the camera is on him, his reaction is immediate. He doesn't shut down. He isn't shy. He doesn't create distance. Instead, he stands up and starts dancing to a J-Hope song, spontaneously. His movements are light. His expression free. As if the camera isn't a foreign object, but an extension of Jungkook himself. Jimin looks completely comfortable. No walls. No boundaries. Then comes that final movement. The one that leaves many viewers frozen. When Jimin quite literally shows his tail. Reactions are divided. Some are shocked. Some laugh nervously. Some are left speechless. But one person doesn't change at all, Jungkook. He doesn't flinch. He doesn't stop the camera. He shows no awkwardness. His gaze stays focused. His hands steady. And it's precisely that lack of reaction that stands out the most. As if he already knows. As if he knows Jimin well enough to not be surprised by any side of him. When something shocks the outside world, but doesn't disturb the balance between them, that isn't coincidence. That's intimacy. That has moved beyond the stage of being surprised. Night falls. They sleep together. And the next morning, the synchronization feels almost unreal. Waking up at the same time. Moving together. turning with nearly identical rhythm. Small movements that usually go unnoticed now feel clear because of their harmony. This isn't a one-time coincidence. It's the result of constant togetherness. A rhythm that has formed, bodies that are already accustomed to each other's presence. Later, when they check in at another hotel, a simple fact is revealed. There is only one bed. Jungkook's reaction comes quickly, light, yet meaningful. Spending warm time together at the hotel with Jimin and Jungkook? Looks like we'll have to sleep in the same bed. It's not just the words. It's the way he says them. The glance straight at the camera. The small, teasing smile. As if he knows exactly the impact of his words, and chooses not to avoid it. Then comes another simple moment. Jungkook feels thirsty. Jimin has water. The conversation that follows feels far too real to be called a script. Jimin has already drunk from the bottle, and casually asks if Jungkook wants another. Jungkook asks if there's still some left. Jimin says yes. Jungkook says he wants one. And that's when Jimin starts playing. He asks Jungkook to say please. His tone teasing, relaxed. Jungkook refuses. He asks for it directly. Jimin repeats himself. Jungkook protests, half surprised, saying he's already 27 years old, and too old for games like that. But Jimin doesn't give in. Jungkook finally says it once. Jimin pretends not to hear. Jungkook insists. Jimin stays relaxed, reminding him that the water is still in his hand. A small tension appears, but not anger. This is familiar push and pull. Their own language. Jungkook starts to lose patience, even blurting out a spontaneous curse. But Jimin remains calm. Keeps playing. Keeps smiling. Eventually, Jungkook gives in. He says it again. And even then, Jimin still isn't fully satisfied. None of this ever turns into conflict, because that's not what it is. Comfort, the freedom to show the messiest sides, without fear of judgment. Then their conversation shifts to something bigger, about rumors, about endings, about what people out there are saying. Jimin says with full conviction, "This isn't the end of this show." Jungkook, "We don't know how everything will turn out." Jimin emphasizes again, "If you think this show will end like this, you're completely wrong." No hesitation. No distance. Each sentence reinforces the other. Jungkook closes with one simple line. "A big misunderstanding." Then he says, "We could go to Busan." It doesn't sound like a random idea. It sounds like continuity, like a plan, like something that has, at least, been imagined together before. And that's where everything comes together. Not in grand confessions, not in dramatic scenes, but in the way they share chocolate without hesitation, laugh through small teasing, wake up in the same rhythm, and talk about the future without fear. Their connection doesn't shout. It whispers. And precisely because of that, it feels real and impossible to ignore. Maybe that's the core of this chapter. Not how loudly the moment is talked about, but how naturally everything happens. A connection like this doesn't need proof. It doesn't ask to be believed. It simply exists, calm, consistent, and real. If the outside world is busy looking for definitions, they're content with understanding each other. And maybe that's why these moments are so hard to forget. Because we're not watching a story, we're witnessing something that's still unfolding and not yet finished. Thank you for pausing with JIKOOK Moments. If you felt it too, don't forget to leave your mark, like, comment, and subscribe, so we can continue exploring the small moments that turn out to mean everything. See you in the next chapter.